Hola, soy Brito, estoy acá en The Stanley Parable otra vez, segundo capítulo. La vez pasada nos había tocado un final que terminamos primero en la beta del juego, después en el mod de Half-Life 2, no sé, fue algo rarísimo, supongo que ya lo vieron, pero nada, para recapitular. Así que nada, vamos a... Quiero volver a seguir sobre mis pasos, pero en vez de saltar del ¿cómo se llama? Cargo lift.
This is the story of a man.
Salteamos eso. En vez de saltar del lugar donde saltamos, quiero ver qué pasa si seguís de largo. Ok. Entonces era acá. Nosotros fuimos para allá y hay que ir para allá. Ok, vamos.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
No.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
No,
but
en
the
vos.
fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Sí, mi muerte.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Me encanta como le dice como for her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
¿Quién es her?
She's been waiting.
¿Quién estuvo esperando?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Calma. ¿Quién es? Hola.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
¿Por qué no puedo tener una esposa? No, chao, yo me voy al carajo.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Eso suena mal, mal, muy mal. Ok.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
No, no. Good morning, buenos días, empleado 427. Apretá R en tu teclado.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
¿Qué pasa? Me están...
Look at him there, pushing buttons,
Yeah.
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home.
Mi vida
Now
perfecta.
he's coming back to work.
Apretar
One might even
botones,
feel
comer.
sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
No, si me están diciendo todo eso no voy a apretar. Bueno, sí.
But
La
in his
tentación me
mind,
mata.
in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful.
Soy una persona muy
And each day
interesante.
that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
No, fuera. Impulso de idiotez. No, bueno, dale.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press 2 para pasar tiempo con los amigos. Ok.
So, he went further. He imagined that
No
he
entiendo
came
qué
to
está
two
pasando.
open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice.
Choice,
It barely even
choice.
mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
To prepare dinner. No necesito apretar una tecla para hacer eso. Mira, mira, mira. Ah, no, este muñeco de mierda no me deja pasar. Bueno,
As he wandered through this fantasy
Pará,
world,
what?
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And
Eso es lo que hicimos.
the Stanley Parable.
Eso fue ofensivo.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
No entiendo a qué va esto. Please, blah, blah, 5 to tell your wife you love her.
But
Te
there is
amo.
no
What?
answer.
What?
How could there possibly be?
Pero
In
te
reality,
amaba.
all
Yo
he's
te dije que
doing
te
is pushing
amaba.
the
¿Por qué
same
te
buttons
vas?
he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which
¿Qué está
life is the real
pasando?
one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop.
Sí, me quiero
Here,
ir.
watch this.
Te escucho, te
The
escucho.
next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Está bien. No lo hago, no lo hago. Cálmate, no lo hago. Ay, ya entendí. No va a pasar nada. Qué forros, qué forro. Toma tu botón.
You see? Can he just not hear me?
Sí, te estoy
How can I tell
escuchando.
him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself?
No,
How
me
can
quiero
I get him
ir.
to see
No.
what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Tu question. Ah, ya entiendo lo que está pasando. Que están demostrando cómo Stanley siempre obedeció lo que le dijeron y nunca.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I
No,
want
me
him
quiero
to.
ir. Y nunca
But
hizo
I
lo que
don't make the
pensó.
rules. I simply
No sé si
play to my
entiendan.
intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different,
Quiero
I
ir.
suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
No voy a apretar nada.
And I tried again.
Please die. What?
Stanley pushed a button.
What?
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
No. Siempre me tocan los peores finales.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bueno, vamos a obedecerlo a ver si no nos toca un final malo. A ver.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Perdón, me enganché leyendo. Vamos a ignorar eso. No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No. Fuera. Impulso de idiotez otra vez. No. Arranca de Team Marín. No. Trate de ti, suerte para ti. Si no será para ti, será para chocolate. Perdón, pero me tienta mucho de desobedecer. Soy un niño rebelde. Arre. Acá no hay nada. Me muero de intriga por saber qué dice ahí. Pero bueno, sigamos.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that.
Claro.
And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Por eso,
All
no,
because
no.
he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Por
For
ejemplo,
example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself.
Por Dios,
this is
es
all
verdad.
too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream.
es un sueño, lo juro.
What a relief Stanley felt to have
Claro.
finally found an answer,
Todo
an
sueño.
explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
Claro.
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this.
A mí me
while still
encantaría un trabajo
lucid."
así.
So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above
What?
the ground.
No,
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Chan, chan, chan.
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
What?
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth
A
was
mí no.
that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
No me gustó dónde está yendo
Stanley
esto.
is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
¿Por qué se repite? Basta,
Hearing
llévame a
the
algún
voice speak
lugar.
these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him
es.
float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Claro.
How else would the voice explain all that?
Eso no fue el porro
This
de no-
voice was
no,
a part of
no.
himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove
Sí.
that he was in control.
Estoy en
That
control.
this was a dream.
Es un sueño.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my
Please.
apartment, and my wife, and my job.
La wife es mentira,
All I
mentiroso.
want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal.
I am normal.
Everything
Everything will be fine.
I am okay.
Ok.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the street. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment,
No,
she
pará,
thought
no
to
estoy
herself
loco,
how
¿qué estoy
much it
diciendo?
was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, And in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
Ok.
But then she remembered the
De
meeting
nada.
she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¿Será que a Mariela le va a pasar exactamente lo mismo que a nosotros? ¿Se va a volver loca porque hay gente controlándola? ¿Será eso? Perdón, le pegué al micrófono. O quizás soy demasiado inteligente para este juego. Quizás me estoy volviendo loco. ¿Qué está pasando acá? ¿Qué está pasando? Nada es real.